and impress their superiority on the battlefield. On the contrary, they were in hot haste to evacuate the field even before the Muslims did. Medina itself, the capital of the Muslims, was only a stone's throw from the lines of the enemy, and vulnerably exposed, yet the polytheists were not bold enough to storm it to plunder its wealth or capture the Muslim women therein. These suggestive details in fact support our argument that the event of Uhud was just a precious occasion, on which the Meccans managed only to inflict heavy losses on the Muslims but failed to achieve their ultimate goals of annihilating the Muslim army in the process of their encompassment operation. After all, it is not unusual for conquerors to sustain such casualties and losses, but these could under no circumstances be regarded as victory for the hostile party. The incident of Hamra al-Assad is interesting in this regard. It is a curious sight, indeed, of a victorious army in retreat for fear of disgrace and defeat, and the crestfallen and crippled group of Muslims in pursuit. Uhud battle, in the final judgment, was just one phase of military activities in the whole process of war, between two hostile parties, each of whom earned their legitimate portion of both success and failure, and then desisted further engagement but without cowardly escape or resigned surrender. In this sense, this battle could be rightly regarded as an inseparable war. In this context, Allah says, "And don't be weak in the pursuit of the enemy. If you are suffering hardships, then surely they, too, are suffering hardships, as you are suffering, but you have a hope from Allah, for the reward, i.e. paradise, that for which they hope not." Al-Quran 4-104. The verse explicitly identifies both attitudes as regards losses and hardships as identical. Both parties concluded the war operations and went back neither victorious nor vanquished. The observations of the noble Quran on the Battle of Uhud. Some Quranic verses were revealed to shed light on the most decisive phases of the battle successively, adduce quite clearly the cause that led to that heavy loss, and illustrate the vulnerable areas that were still persisting in the souls of some believers as regards their duties in forging a decisive attitude with respect to the noble objectives for which the Muslim community was created and was supposed to accomplish. The noble Quran also spoke about the attitude of the pretenders to faith and made clear the hostility and hatred that they harbored against Allah and His Messenger. The words of Allah managed as well to erase all traces of ambiguities and insinuations raised by the hypocrites and their allies, the Jews, the authors of conspiracy and intrigue hatching, and which were still in active operation in the hearts of some weak of heart Muslims. The laudable judgment